Hello everybody, it's Nickel, and I'm back with another episode of Kenshi. Episode 2, to be more specific. I wanted to do something a little bit different with this episode, so, I'll explain that a bit further. I've decided that I'm going to start voicing over these episodes. Now, I do like talking, while I'm playing, as well as, recording my own voice at the same time as I'm playing, because I think it's nice. It kind of feels like a more personal experience than just like voicing it over after I'm done with, and also it's a bit more entertaining for me. But this episode I couldn't actually do that. Now the reason why is because my mic kind of didn't get recorded at all last episode, or I guess this episode, sorry. It didn't get recorded whatsoever. I thought I was getting recorded, I didn't, so I have to voice this over unless you guys want just no commentary episodes from here on. Won't be surprised considering I'm kind of annoying, but that's besides the point. So, yeah, what you're seeing in the background is gameplay that I recorded a few hours ago, and that I'm now voicing over. So, right now what I'm doing is just the basic intro, so, just to kind of explain this. But after I'm done with all this, then I'll just start actually narrating what I've been doing and narrating what I'm going to do. I hope these episodes are going to be a little bit better paced, so yeah, let's just get into the episode. So, what I decided to do immediately after loading the save was to go check out the remnants of the fight I had with the slavers last episode. So, what I did was I headed back down there and was going to see, some of the shit that they had on them, see if they had, any more gear that I missed or anything like that. But also what I really wanted to do was get a new pair of pants. So, right now I'm wearing these weird, I don't even know what to call these things. Basically weird rags on my pants, or as my pants. So I decided to replace them with some samurai cloth because I did sell my old samurai cloth pants last episode, but then I thought about it more and I realized that the things I was wearing before kind of suck. They don't have basically any coverage. At least the coverage they do have is horrible. And even if this pants aren't really protecting me that much, at least they're always protecting me no matter what. So after I got a new pair of pants and I looted the slavers a little bit more, one of them actually woke up and started attacking. I don't know why. It didn't really work out for him all that well. And I never understand this. I never really gave it much thought, but now that I think about it more, if you get enslaved by slavers and the slavers start fighting back even though they're almost completely dead, why would you help them? Why don't you just take your chance and run instead of acting like an obedient slave? It just never made any sense to me, but it doesn't matter. The slavers and their dogs got completely destroyed, and I decided to, loot the dog, see if I can get some food, some leather off of them, and I actually was able to get some, which is very nice. And then after that, I looted the slavers a little bit more, and then head back to the hub. So after we make it back to the hub, I decided to rest my wounds from last episode in a bed, not a sleeping bag. See, there was actually a bed in this room that I thought about it after I had stopped recording, a few hours after. I was like, there's a bed in that room, isn't there? So I decided that after I was done looting the battlefield, I would sleep in the bed for, a few hours and heal my arm up to relative working quality. While I was actually healing up, I looked a little bit further at that one guy that I brought into the bar to get beat up by the guards, and I realized he had a bounty. Now, as I actually said last episode, I wanted to become a bounty hunter this series, so I thought this might be the perfect time to start. Now, my arm was still pretty damn injured from last episode, as I didn't really have enough time to heal it, even with the 8x speed healing of a normal bed. But I decided, 2,000 cats is 2,000 cats, and if I turn this guy in when he's dead, I'm only going to make 1,000 cats, which at that point, it really isn't worth it. So I decided to quickly run over to him, and I actually did this I really cut this close, because he was nearly dead. He was probably maybe 10-15 seconds off from just full dying. So I was able to get to him just in time, and I healed him up. I healed his stomach up as well, and then I decided, okay, well, where do I take him? And I decided that I'd take him to Squin. So after I healed him up, I decided to head inside the bar, sell my goods that I, looted from the battlefield, and then after I was done with that, I went on my way to Squin. Now, thankfully, I didn't have any trouble heading to Squin, and because I went out at dark, I didn't have to worry about, getting attacked by anything, or at least not being able to kind of sneak away from anything. So after I headed to Squin and finally got to Squin, I turned in the bounty and decided to rest up at the nearby bar. I rented a bed for about 100 cats, and then after I was fully rested up and it was, I think, about morning time, I headed to a nearby equipment shop. At the equipment shop, I bought a backpack and then left a little bit outside of Squin, just a teensy bit, and found a copper ore deposit. Now, as you saw from last episode, I did a lot of copper mining, and that doesn't really change this episode. So, after I got the backpack, I went to the copper ore deposit and went to mining. Now, when I say I did a lot of mining, I mean I did a lot. A fucking ton of mining. Like, I was mining for, I think, from, like, till day, all the way till night. Now, I think it might have been more than that. I think it was actually, like, I worked from the day to nighttime, and then to the morning of that new day, and then the reason why, I stopped mining was actually because I noticed a, small scuffle going about to the left of me, like over yonder, where a few dust bandits were in a scuffle with a few of the 100 guard, which, protects the city Squin literally right next to me. And I was, searching them, and, like, not, like, searching them physically, but just, like, checking and, like, looking if they had any bounties, because I thought, okay, well, the Dust Bandit boss that attacked me when I was, heading into the hub last episode actually had a bounty, so, it wouldn't be a crazy idea to think that maybe one of these had a bounty, and who would have it? I was right! And I decided to go quickly pick up that Dust Bandit because I really wanted that bounty. It was a little less than the one before, but, yeah, and I wanted this bounty bad. I even dropped my entire backpack full of copper, which was probably worth more than that whole guy's life, to go grab this guy's bounty. And because of that, I was able to, eventually scoop him up, and then once I scooped him up, I, grabbed my backpack, went back into town. Once I made it back to town, I turned in my bounty, and once I turned in my bounty, I sold the rest of my copper, which I had just made, for mining, and made a huge profit. After I turned in my bounty and sold all my copper, I decided, what the hell else am I going to do? I'm just going to go mining again. But actually, on my way there, I saw a fight going on. And as I explored further, I saw it was between some dust bandits and some starving bandits. Now, I realized, okay, well, I mean, I can't go in there and fight because both of these sides hate me. So I let them, do whatever, and I had a feeling if who was going to win, it was the Dust Bandits. It's always the Dust Bandits when it comes to, fights between weaker groups. So after they were done, I decided, okay, well, I'm so beyond sick of mining. I mean, I didn't show a lot of it on camera here, but I was mining for like 20 to 30 minutes straight. It was so mind-numbingly boring. So after the Dust Bandits inevitably won, I waited for them to go more in front of Squin and went on the attack. Now, the second I hit a single Dust Bandit, or at least even tried to, I took 2 bolts directly to the side of my head. Thankfully, my goats, the 100 Legion, rushed right in, no questions asked, and started beating the bricks off of these loser Dust Bandits. I got ready, I took my backpack off, I was able to single one out, and started fighting. Now, I took 1 hit, took 2 hits, it wasn't looking good for me already, I'm kind of a loser, and then I took it out in 1 clean swipe. After that, I looted him and saw, or at least went to see if I could fight a little bit more, but sadly the 100 Legion is a little too powerful. So, I took over the ones, or at least took out the ones that were still weak, and I even checked to see how much I was leveling, and I was gaining like 30 EXP, or at least 30% EXP every single time I even hit one of these guys, so this was really good melee EXP for me. So after I had, taken them out single-handedly, of course, I looted their bodies and headed back to Squin. So after all that action, I decided to go back to what I was best at doing. Mining. Mining copper. It seems to be all I do. But I was getting bored of mining copper, and I had made enough money now that I could probably head back to the hub and buy into the Shinobi Thieves. So I decided, after 1 or 2 more batches of copper, I'd head back to the hub and, well, start actually becoming stronger. Once I had sold my last batch of copper, I decided that I'd finally leave Squin. I said goodbye to my fellow Shek brethren and departed at night. By the time I made it to the hub, it was still dark. I went to the foot of the Shinobi Thief's tower and talked to the person at the front. I paid them the 10,000 cats to, get into the whole faction, and there I was. I was a part of the Shinobi Thieves, finally. After what felt like so long, I finally became a Shinobi Thief. The thing I decided to do first was to make use of our Shinobi Thief vendor. I decided to buy a chain shirt, a plate jacket, some weird helmet thingy, and some leather boots, and after a little while, a backpack. I was happy with how we looked at this point. I liked our fit, I also liked the equipment that we had, and I honestly just felt, pretty good about, how equipped and powerful we were. So I looked at the dummies, I saw what things I could train, and eventually I decided to train my assassination skill because, well, being able to assassinate people without needing to fight them is pretty damn useful if you ask me. And train I did. I trained for, I think, like 3 or 4 days. I just power leveled as much as you can with the dummy, power leveled my assassination and lockpicking skills. And once I was happy with them, I eventually decided the hub didn't need me anymore. I packed my bags, made sure I had everything that I needed, and left. I had a few ideas of where I wanted to go after I left the hub. I thought about maybe heading back to Squin, looking and seeing if I could hire anybody, but eventually, after a little bit of thinking to myself, I decided the best place was probably to somewhere in the Hive. Now, the Hive isn't a specific place, it's a kind of connection of a bunch of different cities and villages, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just head to around that area, see if I can maybe find some beak things, or gorillos, or whatever the hell, because I was running a little bit low on food at this point, and I didn't feel like buying food, because I had just spent so much money on the Shinobi Thieves and gear, and a backpack, that I was just kind of poor, if I'm being honest. I was poor, and I needed money, and I needed food, but food's a little bit more important than money. So, after that, I started towards Vane. Now, before I actually headed to Vane, I realized there was a small group of dust bandits, a little encampment of them, right outside of Vane, and I checked my faction rep with them, and I saw they weren't too happy with me, but I thought, okay, well maybe I could just skid by them. Sadly, I could not just skid by them, and eventually they gave chase. While I was running, I thought, okay, well, I've done this before, probably 100 times before. I'll just bring them to the middle of a Hive village, and what do you have it? It fucking worked. Right as the Hive guards finally realized that there were some dust bandits attacking me, or specifically in their village attacking me, they finally started helping me out. I singled another dust bandit out just like before, and was kind of getting my ass handed to me, but I still put up a fight. I tried my best. I even was able to actually make one of their attacks whiff, and I was putting up fights. I was even hitting them double. At least I think I was. But I was still, not trained. I still wasn't all that strong, and unlike before, I didn't have assassin rags on, so my attack was not as effective. But the Hivers definitely helped me out a ton, and again, if it wasn't for them, I would have definitely lost them, although I wouldn't have gotten caught by them. So, once the last dust bandit finally was felled, I could take a sigh of relief, and I was able to loot them up. Once I looted them up, I found the local shop, sold all the gear, and was finally getting a little bit of money back in. After I sold all my stuff, I decided to look around. There was actually a beak thing that the Hive helped me kill off screen. I just didn't show it. And I kind of gave me a thought, okay, well maybe I could look for some more beak things or other, wildlife and kill them. Sell their fur and meat and make even more money. I mean, I came here for food after all. I mean, what the hell, why not? Also, I don't know why, but there was so many Hivers in here. I have no idea why this happened. I just thought that was really funny. So after I sold the stuff that I, got from the beak thing, I decided to look around, and eventually I actually found some beak things. I lured them into the village, or at least near the outskirts of the village, and then some Hivers, joined me and started attacking them with me. And I was also not only able to get a lot of skills, but I was also able to get a lot of money from these guys. I sold their leather, cooked their meat, and I was feeling very, very happy. After I was done cooking their meat and, obviously eating a little bit of it, I decided, okay, well, next thing I should do is probably heal myself. But before I decided to, lay down and get myself healed, I thought, okay, well, a great thing I could do is actually train my stealth skill. See, in Kenshi, one thing you can do to train your stealth is to sneak around other creatures. But the thing is it doesn't really matter how well hidden you are, more how many people are actually near you while you're sneaking. So I thought, okay, well, I'm in one of the very populated areas of the game, or at least, one of the areas that happen to be constantly populated, the Hive, or one of the Hive villages, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna sneak around, and that I did. I snuck around in real time, probably for about 25 minutes, and then after I was happy with that, I decided, well, that's pretty good. And good it was, because I finally got my stealth skill to that nice, clean 10. And overall, I think this episode was very, very successful. I traveled to Squin and turned in a bounty. I did a bunch of mining and probably made maybe 3,000 cats. I was able to train my attacking skill. I fought a bunch of dust bandits with the help of the 100 guard. I turned in all the gear that they had into money. I turned in another bounty. I headed back to Squin, got into the Shinobi Thieves, trained my assassination and lockpicking skill, and then headed to Vane and was able to, make more money from beak things and was able to get a ton of food. So, overall, I'm very happy with this episode. If you guys have any requests or ideas or, any questions, and let me know in the comments. And if you guys like this type of style where I'm voicing over the gameplay and not directly talking while I'm playing it, go ahead and tell me. Because, any feedback, in my opinion, is good feedback. And if I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.